So write the first program. So how do you write a first program? You can either open a VI editor on Linux or any editor on Windows. So say I have written this code on Perl on Windows, and I use this editor called Perl Express. So what I do is, this is not needed because this is used on Linux platform. So you can use strict. You can use strict means if there are some type checkings, this will be done, and it will give you an error if there are some type checking issues. And warnings means if there are some warnings you want to display, it will display the warnings. And if you print hello class, if you want to do, and I save, I don't want to run this here because I want to show on the command line. So basically I just save this program. I just do a Control S, or I can just do file and save. I already done the save. So you do a save, and I store my codes in one of my folders, though if you see the slides, they will be mentioning some other folder, but I have a different folder structure where I put my scripts. So I have saved this in hello.pl, and if I want to execute this, so I'll just do Perl and then I do hello.pl. So I get hello class. So this is a very simple thing. You can either print it on the command line, or you can print it writing a code, saving it .pl with a PL extension and executing it with Perl and the file name .pl. And if you want to execute this on Unix, then if people are familiar with Unix, you will all know that you can make any file as an executable, where you give the execute permissions with chmod. So as we go ahead, I can show you on how to execute on Linux as well. And basically you can make it executable, and you can just directly run that script. So no need to type everything. You can just run the script as a normal executable, how you execute on Linux. So we went through this. So we can use any editor. The Perl extension is .pl. Perl executives end with a semicolon. Perl is case sensitive, as I said. Anything like capital letter, small letter, it will give you an error if the case is different. For free form, white spaces are ignored. Okay, comment with a pound sign may be anywhere, not the beginning of the line. So if you see this, this is called a shebang, wherein hello. What is the first line in this code? Yeah, so this is specifying the path. Okay, this is specifying the path. And Rahul, I am answering your question. Basically, the first line specifies the path, but this is, if you delete this, okay, if you just delete this and you try to execute, you will still get the output. The reason being, this is basically used for Linux kind of platforms. So basically your question is why the first line is used, or what is the use of the first line. So this shebang character, this is called a shebang character, where you put a pound character which is for comments, and then there is an exclamatory sign which has a special meaning, which is like look for the scripts in this directory. So the user/bin/perl. So we have to always specify this when we write the programs using Linux or Windows, Unix kind of platform, or Solaris platform. But this is not needed when we use this on Windows platform, because it is automatically the interpreter is installed and we have a front end, and it's automatically the path is appended. So you don't need to worry about this. This is only if you are writing on Linux, you will be specifying the path. Okay. And as I said that there is a comment. If you don't want to print anything, so I'll just say this is a comment. Okay. And I don't put a semicolon or whatever here. And if I just want to execute it, I just get hello class. But if I want to remove this comment here, and I just say print, this is a comment, and you can see that I am putting a single quotes here, not a double quotes. So you can see what is the difference it made. So if this hash character is basically used to make it a comment. So whatever you print after this becomes a comment, it's not printed. But this has a special character shebang, that is hash and exclamatory sign, which is used to specify the path, mainly used on Unix kind of platform. But okay, I have another question. Okay, Mahesh is asking, is the semicolon necessary at end of file at EOF line? Okay, so yeah, semicolon is very much essential when you want to end a statement in Perl. So it is like C. Okay, one more question. What is the question? End of line, yes. So end of line, once you want to specify, you have to give a semicolon. The reason being, Perl is an interpreter, and line by line it does the interpretation. So if you don't put a semicolon, here and you want to see the output, let's see what happens. Okay, so this is a comment. So basically, I'm not sure why it is executed, because it requires a semicolon, because that's how a Perl statement is ended. Okay, but I'm not sure why the compiler is not giving you an error here, but so I'm not sure why it is giving. It might be some issues, but basically we need to put a semicolon after each statement, and that's how a logical statement is written in any programming language, where we start it with some keywords, then we put some strings or whatever we want to print, and then we end that statement with a semicolon, which says that it's the end of the line. So go to the next line. So semicolon is very much important, but I'm not sure why it's giving you not giving an error, but it's essential to write. If you want to write a clean code, and if you want to not have any issues with your code, you should always write a clean code. So you should always follow the syntax which we have gone through in the previous classes, previous slides, which says semicolon is very much essential. Where each statement ends, you put a semicolon. So that's how it is. Now you can see that I have written this statement, hello class, this is a comment. And you can see this doesn't look good because hello class and there is no space or tabs. So I want to print this is a comment in a next, this is not a comment. So this is not a comment if I do. Okay, and if I want to put it in the next line, so what I do is I can put a slash in here. So if I put a slash in before, what happens is you can clearly see that hello class, this is not a comment. So this is a very simple example of how do we write a Perl program. So you can just specify, you can use whatever you want to use, like what are the with warnings or without warnings, then you can just print. And as you know, you can put it in single quotes or double quotes. I can give you one example. If you put the same thing in single quotes, you can see the difference, what will happen. So if you just want to execute this, you can see this is not a comment. So slash n, so it prints the slash n, and it doesn't understand that slash n is a special character, which means new line. So go back to the next line. And even you could have done this instead of this, you could have put this in a single quotes, and you could have put a slash in here. You could have put a slash in here. So what is the output? So output is same, because I am putting a new line character after the first print, and this print statement is within the double quotes. So you are able to interpret it in a proper way. The Perl is able to interpret it in a proper way. But the next statement is just a string. It doesn't have anything. So it will just print as it is. So we'll go to the next slide. So okay, so comment begins with a pound sign. Then multi-line comments you can put. You can put multiple comments. You can put here. You can put high. Say you can put high, something like that. And here also you can put a. So I can put this is for strict type check. So if you do this and if you want to execute, you give it as it is, because these are comments you can write, put it anywhere. So this is what was said here, that it's supposed multi-line comment through POD. So POD is plain old documentation. So you can even write the Perl documentation in a POD format, wherein you can, whatever documentation is there, you can display on a web in this format where we just saw like Perl doc. So you could see this option. So you can feed this to the Perl doc, or you can also display this on a web page using some kind of wiki or somewhere where you put whatever documentations you want to put. So you use POD, but this is something very specific and I'm not going to cover this. If it is there as part of the module and if it is essential, I could take some information, but generally it is not required, because this is like you are only the documentation part. So people who are only putting documentation information, they are putting this on the POD format. Okay, so we have already taken a basic script how to execute on the command line or on the editor. You guys are already aware of that, so I'm not going to go again and executing this, because this is some script. You can have XYZ information and you can just execute it. So for Linux, as I already told, you can execute the script while adding the shebang line. So the first character here, this is called shebang, where you have this exclamatory sign preceded by a hash. So this is specifying the path. This is essential if you want to write a code on Perl in Linux, but it is not essential for Windows. You need not specify the path at all. But even if you put, it doesn't matter. It doesn't give you an error in Windows. So that is the thing. So, and the interpreter address is the very first line of the script to make them self-executable. We'll go to the next slide to understand that. So basically how to make this executable, I'll go through the next slides where it covers. So basically you can create an executable using the chmod command. So I hope like you guys are aware, I don't have Linux here. Chmod + X, and you can just put some permissions, and you can put chmod chmod and 777 you can do, like you give read, write, execute permissions to all, and you can do start. So all the files in this directory you can give the read, write, execute mode, or you can just do chmod + X, like you want to execute, put the execute permissions only for a specific file. You can do that. So that's how you do, and if you make it executable, you need not write Perl and file name.pl. You can directly execute .pl file. So that is on Linux, but since I don't have Linux here, so I'll follow the Windows convention. I'll go to the next slide. So the data types. So this is the most important thing in Perl. It is very much different from C or people who have prior expertise writing code. So this is very much different, wherein we have C, C++, we have int, float, char. So we don't have this kind of data types at all in Perl. So what Perl 5 specifies is singular or list. So singular is something which we specify as scalar. So there are two main things. Okay, in scalar is something which stores a data which is a single piece of data. So so something like it can store an integer, it can store a float, it can store a string, it can store a character. So you can see the first, second, third, fourth. The first is an integer, second is a float, third is a character, and fourth is a string, and 5 is also a string with some additional special characters, which is like new line characters. And additionally, Perl has this added advantage wherein it provides a reference. So if you guys are a little bit aware of C++, it provides you reference variables, wherein you can get a reference of one variable and you can store in another variable. So basically references, both will have the same value. So if you have a reference of some location or some address, basically you get the reference will have the same value with what it refers to. So how to refer it and all, we'll go through the next slides and the later slides where we cover it. So the last statement, if you see, so this is a statement, and also basically it's simple to understand. It can store any kind of data types, normal data types which we specify in C, C++ kind of thing, where it is like int, float, char, or string. Basically these are the 4 things. String is not a data type, but basically it's a combination of characters. And you can even specify new line characters and all, and you have to make sure that it is in the double quotes. The reason being it has special meaning. So if you put, or you can have a reference. So reference is an address and you put a slash. So that can be stored in some variable. So this variables will be starting with the dollar variable. So these are called scalar. So when we talk about singular, basically there is nothing called singular. This is just a representation, but the actual name is scalar. So there are 3 kinds of data types in Perl, basically scalar, array, and hash. Okay, but we are clubbing array and hash as list because it refers to a list kind of data, while singular is basically a single data. Okay, so that's it. So we'll go to the next slide. We'll understand what a list is. Okay, so Perl 5 only distinguishes between 2 types of data, singular and list. We have already covered. So list represents a combination of multiple scalars. It can hold a combination of strings, statements, numbers, or references, memory address. List usually represent by the parenthesis records. Now, how list works is, list is a combination of data types. It's a combination of scalars, right? So if you see how it is represented, so you can see this is called an array. So so how array indexes are mapped is, you have 3 elements in the array. So it is like $A, $B, $C, and you will be having the values as 1, 2, 3, and you can have $name, $company, the values of Joes and Edureka. So basically this is each element is mapping to some value, element value. So that's how it is, how a list works. But basically we'll go in detail about array and hash, how it works. So more about data types. So basically length of the variable is not limited. So variable names are case sensitive, type declaration is not required. Variable names need not be predefined, characters, underscores can be. So these are more about variable types and names. You can go through this, and obviously any programming language will have this convention, how to define a variable, it is case sensitive or not, what special characters are needed. Just like if you want to you want to register in a website and they'll tell that enter the password. It will have some rules how you want to create the password, like it will have one underscore or what. So this is what the conventions required for variables or data types. You can go through this, and this is what we specified in the dollar variable. So the dollar variable can have that name, whatever is specified here. I'll go to the next slide. So you can skip this. So basically it is asking you a question. So which of the below is a scalar variable? Now you guys also can answer this question, which is a scalar variable. So just now we went through the last slide, which says the scalar variable must start with a $sign. But if there are 2 $signs, it has a special meaning. So we are not considering this as a special variable. Neither we are considering dollar followed by a hash as a scalar, because if you go to the previous slide, you can see that no special characters can be part of this variable. Only thing is it can start with a $, but it cannot have any other special characters. So that is the reason why these last 2 are rejected. And the first one is not even starting with a $. So this is not a scalar variable. Only scalar variable is the second one. So we can see the answer is the second one. So I hope I am clear here. So I'll move to the next slide. So what is the output of the following executable statement? Please pay me $10. Okay, so again it is very simple. Okay, since we are putting this in the single quotes, you can see we are putting this in the single quotes. So the special meaning of this dollar will be gone. So what should be the output is, sorry, I'm sorry about it, because we are just printing this as a string. We are just printing as a string, and dollar is not a special character, but a /n or /t will be a special character. So it will just print whatever is it as a string as it is. So it will just say, please pay me $10, because it doesn't have anything else. So it will just print as it is, because the dollar also will be interpreted and it will be given. See, you can see the answer, and what is the reason for that? This is because we have the complete expression in single quotes, which does not allow interpolation of scalar variable. But had you put here that $name, had you put something like, I'll go to the code, and if you put the same thing, if I put is please pay me $10. Okay, so it'll say please pay me $X. Okay, if you print this, if you want to print this, sorry. Okay, so it will print you $X, because I am not having any special meaning, because I'm putting a single quotes. But if you put this in the double quotes, you see how the output gets changed. So this will be global variable $X requires explicit package name. So we are not having the value of $X. So basically, I can show you one small example, which we will take in the next classes or in the later classes. But you can do my $X equal to 5. If you do this and then you want to print it, okay, then you get please pay me 5. So how it got changed is, my is a keyword which says it is local. So it's something like Perl also has concepts of local variable or global variable, but we do not have explicit brackets and parentheses wherein we want to specify the scope. We will write a single, we don't have much loops also. We can write loops, but it is not like C wherein we have multiple functions and all. It is more like a script wherein we put everything in a one single file. So here you can see that the my keyword becomes like a global, because it is whoever refers to $5, he can $X, he will be referring it throughout the program. So it becomes like a global to this file. And since I have put the value as 5, so it prints me $X. But if I had put this in single quotes, so my output would have been drastically different. Please pay me $X, because it doesn't understand that $X has some value. So that's it, which you understand that what is the difference between single and double quotes. Okay, so